So LDAP actually it stands for Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. It's based on X.500 services of TCP/IP. So currently version of LDAP actually is version 3. It's similar to Active Directory on Microsoft, but this is like a protocol generally talking about how to manage the users and the computers in the network. So what we are doing today, we're going to install the LDAP, and then we will connect one of the clients to the LDAP server, and then you learn how to join one of the clients to the LDAP server. So to install it, I'm just going through terminal. Here we have some packages for LDAP, sudo-s. Then the package that we are installing is slapd actually, and LDAP utils. So once you're installing this package, is asking you for administrator password. This is administrator password that you're using for LDAP. So we're going to use like in the feature steps, this password. If you want to reconfigure this package, usually you use the package and then reconfigure and slap D. So is asking you, do you want to remove omit the open LD configuration? No, I don't want it. But here, because by default is Linux VM images are local, I'm changing the DNS and changing to example.com. So put it here, example, example.com. And then also here also organization level example.com. That means that I'm changing the organization and LDAP configuration to my desired domain name. And this is the password of slapd or LDAP that you're putting here. And do you want the database to be removed? No. And move the old database? Yes. Okay. So how we can verify that we have example.com? So if you do a slap cat, so this one, and then -b, that's a base, and the cn config. That means I show the configuration file. So here it shows that domain name that you have. You see that that's adminexample.com. Usually the structure is like the cn and dc. Example dc equal com. So it is written based on the parent and child. So the slap cat has different. So if you slap and then press tab, you see that we have a slap ACL, a slap add, a slap cat. Cat means shows that feature that we have under my domain. So example.com shows that the domain name that you have, and we call it as a DN here. And you see that that's a top domain name, and this object is example.com. So that's UUID that we have here, timestamps, and the first we modify it, and this is the timestamp that we have like for modification of this domain name. If you want to search under LDAP database, because here we are using Linux, we don't have a graphic, so you use LDAP search. And that H actually shows the host, and I'm using under my LDAP local host. So it's like that. Dash X is a simple binding. Dash B is the base, and DC. Usually we are writing the domain name like that. DC example, and then DC equal com. So you see that? Then we have a result for this part that shows that we have searched this part. Also, if you want to see the encrypted password of user, and then you use LDAP search dash H LDAP local my local host dash X for binding dash D CN equal admin DC equal example and DC equal com dash W dash B DC equal example and DC equal com. It's asking what is the LDAP password. So now you enter your LDAP password, whatever you set in the first step. So you enter it and then you show the result for this step. Um, slap D also part of this directory information tree. So if you want to, for example, to see that what is inside example.com, you can use the slap search like what we did here. And the levels, usually when you want to see the levels, you're using dash LLL. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm using probably this part and dash H and using dash X for binding dash LLL, and that shows my classes, objects, and the example.com object. So here, if you want to see that who is logging to LDAP currently, you're using LDAP who am I dash X. So that's anonymous, not like a user. Also, if you use LDAP, who am I? Who am I? Dash Y for external, maybe you have external authentication services, dash H, and my local is LDAP I dash Q. So this one, if you have set the authentication external services like SASL external services, then it will show you here. That's a very secure way of having binding. So that is not set here. Actually showing the group ID and user ID. You see that 0. Um, that means that we don't have that part. But one of the things that we can use under LDAP is a LDIF file, and that LDIF file actually contains the information of a user's group. Uh, then you can add this one to your LDAP server. So here in the document that you see, I put one of the samples. So usually what you do, you use a SSH server because copy pasting here maybe is very difficult. You can use this one apt-get install open SSH dash server. So then install a SSH server. Once you have a SSH server, then you can use a terminal like that. SSH, the username is Debian, @ what is my IP address here? IP Address is 192.168.199.136. 192.168.199.136. And then Debian. So what I'm gonna do, pasting those options under this file. Add underline content dot LDIF, this file. So what is that actually is the organization unit, the user, John, that we have it here, and we are adding that one here. And we copy, paste it here. So you see that I paste this one. So it is people. I add a OU here, people, and under OU, I have another OU groups. And then I have a minors. Then I add a John. You see the John name and the family name John Doe and the group name user ID. So this is some sample that I am putting on my LDAP server to check that, okay, John has been added or not. So look, I just saved this one. So I added my file and continue the rest of lab here. So that file now is here. Look, add underline content, LDIF. So if you want to add that file to your LDAP server, we are using LDAP add -x for binding -d cn equal admin dc equal example and dc equal com -w -f add under content at LDIF. Okay, then enter the password of your LDAP. See that you have added this John, this OU, this group to your LDAP. So now you want to check that, okay, John exists in this LDAP server or not. So LDAP search -xll, show me the levels, and under DC example, DC com, which user? This user. We are binding this user. UID equal John, and the group ID number also here. You see that it will show that John name and family name and also group numbers. 5000 is the group numbers that we had for this user. Now I want to change the password of the John. So first of all, let's LDAP search -x -b DC equal example, DC equal com dn. So we search that user, and now if you want to change the password, is LDAP passwd -h LDAP I -x -dcn equal admin dc equal example dc equal com -w -s uid equal John ou equal people dc equal example dc equal com. So I'm changing the username, the user John password, right? So new password. I'm gonna set the password for John, re-enter it. What is the LDAP password? The last one is the LDAP password that you're entering. So now what happens? So we have a user, John, Then you set the password for John under your LDAP server. So now if you have LDAP client, this is your LDAP server. If you have an LDAP client, so let me, because we need another Debian server here, I'm gonna copy this one, make a new folder here. So I put this one as Debian 2. I could do another operating system also like Ubuntu, but because we are doing all of this lab under Debian, then uh, I extract this one. So this is like I rename it this one as my server. Sorry, here, server. So then I put that file here, another one, Debian 2. Um, this one, I renamed this one as LDAP client, right? So this is my client that I have here. So turn it on. Um, so now this client wants to join the server, okay? So Debian. So let's go to terminal and make it very bigger. So sudo -s. So here I'm installing apt-y. Y means that say yes to all the steps. So libnss dash ldap libpam dash ldapd and ldap dash utils. These are the packages that we are installing here. So you're receiving here the LDAP server. So be careful about this part because when it's asking about LDAP server, you should put the IP address of a server. IP address here is 192.168.199.136, right? So you put it here. 192.168.199.136. That's the IP address of LDAP server. Is is saying that okay, is it your DC Linux VM? No, no. That's example, and this part is com, right? So we set it like that. And then it's asking you, okay, which level you want to access, which services you want to access. So here I want to access, so you should use the space here as a space bar here. So password, group, and the shadow. Okay, these three I want to use it. I use tab to go to OK and then click OK. So it'll install these group services for you. So once you get to this step, use system CTL, restart NSCD and SLCD. So these are like services that you should restart. And to verify, you exit from root. So you see that I'm now, let me clear my screen. Now I'm a Debian user, so I use su-l, switch the user to John. Okay. Usually this step, if it works, user John does not exist. Okay, let me see that. IP address, exit. terminal. su-l John. Okay, maybe we are having here issue. So let's see that we have connectivity with 192.168.199.136, ping 192.168.199.136. Yeah. So sudo dash s switch user dash l to John. Cannot see that user. System ctl restart nc nscd and nslcd is running. That status, yeah, both of them is running. So those files, you see the ns switch here is the main file for this part, nano etc ns switch.conf. Protocols seems to be good. NIS group, yeah. And the other one, NS nslcd.conf. This file also contains the information of your LDAP server, which I put it here, 199.136 example.com. And also the cert also is okay. Yeah, this is the way actually, I think maybe there is issue here that doesn't show that user, but this is a way that usually we are reaching to this step. So that it's trying, but that's like the way that we reach to this step. And basically here we have that user, and if you want to delete that user from the server, so if I clear my screen, so LDAP delete and -h LDAP I -x -d cn equal admin dc equal example dc equal com -w uid John OU. That's the OU that we had also in the file, OU people. The DC equal example and DC equal com. Password of LDAP. So now if you LDAP search that John exists or not, probably we deleted John. Example, we can check it from here. DC equal com. DN colon. Look, there isn't any John here, and we deleted John under LDAP server. And that concludes our lab for LDAP server.